Hello and welcome to the Zest Your Life book study. This is webinar number 8, and I think this is going to be our final webinar of the series as we've gone through the exercises from the Zest Your Life, A Taste of Inner Wisdom book. It was published in 2015. It's number 1 on the Amazon bestseller list. It was endorsed by Dr. Joe Vitale of The Secret, also endorsed by Marcia Wieder, who's the founder and CEO of Dream University, and several other people. So I'm thrilled to be here tonight and to be going through the final book study with you. This is what we've covered so far. So we covered part 1, Awaken the Woman Within. I'll just go through these quickly. You can see all the exercises we've had to do. And then we did part 2, Creating Emotional Maturity. We did part 3, Connecting the Mind and Spirit. And we left off last week with exercise number 23. So part 4 is Live Your Zest. We finished last week Spiritual Connection, and now we are just going to do a quick review of the last exercise we did last week, and that's exercise number 23, Satisfaction, Frustration, and Desire. So tonight we're going through the values exercise, which is a 2-part exercise. We'll be talking about who you really are, positive power talk, passion power, and finally, we're going to close the book and the session with the vision board. And I certainly hope you don't keep that book closed forever. I have some of my clients have read it 3 times. So there's got to be some layers in there. So let's get started. Exercise 23 was about satisfaction, frustrations, and desires. So this is about these were the questions that we asked. So there's a lot of stopping and starting in the last webinar that you may want to do, or in all of them, so you have time to write out your answers. Just a reminder that you can print off the workbook. The website is listed in the book, but I'll give it to you now. If you're hanging in and doing all these webinars, download that workbook so you can print it off. And the website is lindababulik.com/extras. And that's my thank you for you being here at this webinar. So you will get all of the extras for the book, even if you haven't purchased the book. These were the questions that we had. Find the feelings of satisfaction, appreciate, and gratitude in your life. Where do you find those feelings? What frustrates you the most about your life? Those are the barriers that hold you down. What do you need to double your happiness this year? And what strategies have you tried to improve your life that have worked? And what hasn't worked? And what are you trying to accomplish this year? And by this year, I mean 12 months. Doesn't matter when you start. Exercise 24.1. There's the website. Because one of the extras that I supplied in the book extras page, the book bonuses, are the values cards. I keep putting them over here. I should have it here. So these are the values cards. You can just print them off on paper if you want to. Or what I did is I went to Staples and I got those. You know how you can make your own business cards? Well, that's all this is. It's just that same stock, and they're perforated. So you can print them, and then you could just snap them all off, and you have the deck of cards. Each client that I work with gets their own deck of cards. And if you haven't completed this yet, then what I would suggest you do is you can download those values cards. I just found it was so much easier to do that than to go through the list in the book. Also, I realized I put way too many values in the book. It's too hard to coordinate. This, you have 50 cards and you're going to sort them out. And this is part of what I do with each client that I work with. I need to know their values so I know how to guide them to where they want to go. You need to sort those 50 values cards, and you need to sort them into these 5 columns. So 10 things in each column. Now, I know it's heavy math. Something you always value, what you often value, what you sometimes value, what you seldom value, and what you least value. Now, I've done this. I can't even count how many times I've done this exercise with how many people. But you will find that you're going to stack everything towards always, often, sometimes, seldom. You don't want to say you'll put 1 or 2 in the least. I don't want you to spend a lot of time thinking about this, but you must have them evenly all the way across so that you end up with having 10 in each column, which is really, really important. So you may want to pause the recording so that you can download the cards and do this exercise. And my encouragement is that you don't take a long time to do this. Take 7-10 minutes at the most and just lay it out and get it done. I know someone who has this, my hairdresser. She has this in her waiting room, and when people are getting their hair done, there's wait times in between, and she gives them the values cards. They do their values. They love it because your values change, and it's important for you to know your values because you want to be led by your values, and you don't want to be operating in contradiction to your values. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the best you can get into doing that. So you don't want to overthink it. Don't get hung up on the definition of each word that I put on these cards. So you may think advancement means one thing, and somebody else will think integrity means something, or beauty. Just interpret it however you want. Whatever that word means to you, that's what matters. Okay? So don't get yourself all strung out. I don't know what she means by beauty. Does it mean physical beauty in our body? Does it mean beauty in our heart? I don't know. Maybe it means everything. So it's up to you. These are your values. It's your exercise. So don't get yourself hung up. So what you want to do is have them now in order of priority so that your top value is under the always valued column. So your number 1 value, the most important thing to you, the thing you value the most, will go at the very top of the always valued column. Your next one goes right under it. That's number 2. Number 3, number 4, number 5, you'll have them all the way to 10. In descending order of importance. And then I want you to get all the way to the very bottom under least valued, and I want you to put those 10 in order. So go to the very bottom, the thing you value absolutely the least. Let me see if I can pick out an example here. Creativity. Some people have aversion even to creativity. It is not a value of theirs at all. It's the least valued thing they have. So put that on the very bottom right-hand corner of wherever you're doing this, and you'll need a fair bit of space. The next one, so if you didn't have creativity at the bottom, what would be your next bottom one? So it could be environment. So put that one next, because what I want you to do then is you're going to be listing your bottom 5, but it starts at the very bottom as number 1. The second one from the bottom is number 2. The third one from the bottom is number 3, number 4, number 5. That's how they go. So here's why I want you to do this. Make a note of your top 5 values and make a note of your lowest values. So your number 1 lowest value is the one that it was at the very bottom of the pile. I know I'm taking a lot of time to explain this because you'd be amazed at how much confusion there is when people are under pressure. They have to know what their values are and they have to get it done in just 10 minutes. So, get that done. Now the next piece is, how are these values expressed in your life? So it's important. So example is, if you want to spend, if you find that you're spending time in your top values, and your values here, value number one, how it's expressed in your life. So for example, if you value adventure as your number one value, but you never go anywhere or do anything, how can you manifest this into your life? So that's what the point of this exercise is in. It's to know your top values, your bottom values, and you want to live your top values. So if adventures, your value number one, how is it expressing in your life? You could be turning adventure into everything you do could be an adventure. I mean, walking to the corner to the mailbox could be an adventure. Certainly where I used to live, it was, because I lived in forests. So I didn't know if there was going to be a bear or a coyote or wild turkeys or whatever on my half-mile walk to the mailbox. So how is that number one value expressed in your life? Do that for your top values. And I want you to do the very same thing for your bottom values. How are they expressed in your life? So when you're setting your intent for your life, if any of them are aligned with your bottom values, you're going to want to take a good look at that and see how you reconcile it. So what this means is, if travel to South America is on your list, but the value of adventure is on the bottom of your 5 values, there's a disconnect. See that? Because traveling to South America, I mean, you could be watching this from South America. I'm just picking that as someone who's living in Canada in an urban center. So if going someplace that's a stretch for you, that would be an adventure, it could be, travel could be in your top value, and going to South America can. But if you don't have a sense of adventure, which you pretty much need for all travel these days because flights are delayed or those postponements or cancellations, you need to be able to take a look at that and deal with the adventure of travel. So if there's a disconnect, so your mind and intent don't align to make this adventure travel manifest in your life, then it can't happen, because you want to align the energy required to manifest it into your life is absence. And because you've got a gap between your values and your wishes, your values will lead the way. I had a client, and I talk about this in the book, I think, who did her values exercise, and one of her top values was family. And yet one of her intent was to go work in Africa. And she had like a 4-year-old and a 14-year-old or something like that. The 2 boys had quite a spread. And when I pointed out to her, if that's your top value, then how are you going to do this that you've been working on going towards? That's why it's not turning out, because it's not aligned. So you'll find the values will trump. So you can have all these wishes and dreams and desires, they need to be aligned with your values. I have another client who relies on this exercise constantly, because what it did for her was it showed her that she was living in her bottom values. She was doing things that she did not value. And when she caught herself doing that, she can now sever those relationships and stop doing those things. So say your card is adventure and you're dating someone whose number one value is stability, quiet. I don't know what the words are all in these 50 cards, but something that would express They don't want to go out. They have no sense of adventure. They're happy to just stay at home and read a book. Can you see the disconnect? So here you are, this person that you're with, you're sitting there staying at home thinking, okay, that's enough. I want to go out. I want to have an adventure, even if I just go take a walk. And they're not an outdoor walking kind of person. Whatever it is, you want to be aligned. The other thing could be true too. Adventure could be your bottom value, but you're with someone whose adventure is top number one value, and you're finding yourself hanging 10 on the side of a cliff. And you're going like, why am I doing this? I don't value this. So values are hugely important in your life, and values do change. Our values will change when you have little children. That's going to be one of your major, family will be a major importance to you. And it may stay like that forever, or it may shift positions. Success, acknowledgement. If you're going to university or going to school or studying, knowledge may be one of your top values. So they'll shift around a little. So don't be surprised if you do this exercise again in a few months that your values have changed. And I strongly suggest that you do put the date on these pages so that you know when you did them. And the affirmation that goes with this is, I know my values and live my life aligned with my values. Values, hugely important. And often conflicts will come up when people have different values. That's why I did this for a corporation, and it was great because now they could speak each other's language. They understood what each other's values were, and they brought that variety of values to the table, and people could allow for the differences. It was really quite magical. Exercise 25. There's a lot of writing in these last few exercises. Be who you really are. This is in chapter 23 on page 201. So my first question is, who are you? And what I mean with that is describe your qualities and your personality traits, and make it a list of your actual qualities, not just the roles that you have, mother, daughter, spouse, whatever it is. So if people wanted to describe Oprah, she's always a good example to use in many, many scenarios, they might say she's strong, passionate, persevering, all of those things. Can you describe yourself with those words? Or with different words? What are your words? Who are you? What describes you? If I met you and knew you, how would I describe you? How would you describe me? So if you can't describe yourself, you may want to ask people whose opinion you value, and that will not give you any negative input. It's about who you are on the positive side. And we don't need anybody bashing you around. So just ask them, what do you think my greatest qualities are? And they'll let you know. So some words to get you started could be artistic. You could be creative, exacting, passionate, enthusiastic, precise, entertaining, sensual, sexy, fun, funny, and maybe even zesty. I get that one a lot. So what do you love? Because what you love will often tell me the story of who you are and what you're all about. By telling me what you love, I can have a pretty good idea of what your values are. So if you love adventure, I know that's one of your values. If you love the environment, if you love solitude and nature, so tell me all the things that you love, and I could pretty much describe your life right back to you. These are really, really good questions if you want to have a relationship with someone and you want to get to know them. Now, this one is a little different. Live your life differently. List what you would do differently if you knew that you only had 1 year to live, or 6 months, or 3 months. I just had a coffee the other day with a friend of mine who was diagnosed with cancer 6 months ago. No, it was a year ago. Yeah. And she talked a little bit about her process and how she changed her life because she didn't know what was going to happen. Now it's all clear. It's 1 year later. She's had all her treatments and her cancer is all clear, but she didn't know. And so she made a lot of changes in her life, spending more time with family and loved ones, spending more time having fun, and spending more time having experiences and adventures that she values. So she was living her values much more and doing very selective work, only the work she really loves to do. No time to do the work you're not loving and passionate about. And then the other side of that is, how would you live if you knew that you had another 30, 40, 50, 70, or maybe even 100 years to live? What would you do then? What would you do if you knew you had another 30, 40, 50, 60, depending on how old you are? What would you do if you knew you were going to be like my grandmother and live to be 99? Or my great-grandmother who lived to be 107? Or my great-grandfather who lived to be 102? What would you do if you had all those years laid out ahead of you? I have a friend of mine who's a financial planner, and he says, yeah, all those pictures on TV of walking down the beach for retirement, he says, that's not retirement. So if you knew you would live to be over 100, and more people are, how would you live your life? What would you plan out today? Would you get better eating habits? Would you be more fit? If you think you're going to have to be in this body for another number of years, you may want to be treating it better or the best that you can. And the fourth question is, what is your gift? What's your passion? Why are you here? It's a matter of, you hear that often, what's your why? But it's a matter of exploring and to live by your why. And when you think about, what do people ask you for advice about? So when someone, asks you for advice, that's one of your gifts. And that may be why you're here. So I'm giving you a clue, eh? So if people asked you, what about this? What about that? You're really good at this. Could you share this with me? Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe they can see your gifts. So what are those gifts that you have that you're going to share? Exercise 26, positive power talk. Every day in the media and maybe with family and friends, we hear unachievable ideals and negative and debasing messages. And the antidote to heal this hurtful input is to replace it with positive talk to ourselves and to others. So if you're doing this exercise alone, you may want to speak the words in a mirror to your own image. If you're doing this with others, you may want to work in pairs and stand within 2 feet of each other. You want to stand fairly close together. Take turns and speak these words to each other. So if I'm working with you right now, so I'll say, you are a zesty, powerful person. I wrote this for women, so I would say, you are a zesty, powerful woman. And then in turn, the other person you're working with will say the same to you. And this is a progression. Not everyone can do this right off, but I'd really like to see you try and see the difference that it's going to make to you. I want you in front of a mirror or in front of another person to be able to look them square in the eye and say, I am a zesty, powerful woman. I am enough. I am a zesty, powerful woman. And you are too. And you want to connect with your heart, share what you feel when you're in that presence of that powerful woman. You know, we often meet powerful women and we don't say anything. And find your words. You know, you could say, I see a powerful woman, and when I'm in your presence, I'm filled with warmth, and I feel smart and wise. Whatever it is. How do you feel when you're with that person? How do you feel when you're with that person that makes you feel powerful? Let's tell them. When I'm with you, I feel so good. When I'm with you, I feel loved. When I'm with you, I feel safe. Whatever it is, tell them. And now when someone asks, how are you? You have your answer. You'll say, I'm zesty. And everybody's going to want to know where you got it and how you got it. And you'll inspire them to find their inner zest. Exercise 27 is about passion power. And I want to talk about the passion of a dream. And it can never be underestimated. And it's manifested from that core force of life energy that you put behind that. So, what is your dream or passion for something you want to do, learn, experience, accomplish? What 3 things do you want to do in your life that you've never done? Last year, I took singing lessons. Yeah, because I'd never done that. And I wanted to know how it worked. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of practice to be able to do that. A lot of warm-up exercises, which all of it it's worth it because what I learned in singing lessons, I use on stage. I don't sing on stage though. That would be frightful. But I do use in being able to modulate my voice and to understand it more. So I did it just for fun. I didn't understand that I was going to have all those fringe benefits to it. So what 3 things do you want to do in your life that you've never done? I've never been climbing like on a rock wall. I've done plenty of crawling on the rocks. And when I was in Peru, going over the glaciers a few years ago, we're on all 4s. That's pretty rock climbing. And I grew up climbing rocks, but I've never done like the harness over the wall thing. I think I put that on my list. I think that's one of the things that I'm going to want to do. And let me know how you make out with this. I'd love to hear. And the affirmation to this is every day I am closer to making my dreams come true. And that's a huge important piece. It's your dreams. Make your dreams come true. Be in charge of your own life, your own days, and your own legacy. And have your dreams come true. And if you've been following all along in these exercises, you have your dreams. And we're going to talk more about that when we talk about the vision board. Then you really get your dreams popping. And here it is. So exercise number 28. This is to put together your vision board. Now, everybody does it differently. Here are the 9 steps that I will take you through. It's a quick and dirty version of it. There's more detail in the book, and there's plenty of other places. There's even apps now to do your vision board and lots of helpful tools that you can find. But this is the way I did it with my groups, and this is what I write about in the book. Find an accountability partner. or just find somebody to do your vision board with. I wanted to get mine done a couple years ago. My granddaughters wondered what I was doing, so they did their own vision boards. And it was really amazing that a 6 and an 8-year-old thought of putting things on it for everybody in their family. I was really touched. It wasn't all about them. What did they want for others? Pretty nice. Here's my big thing. I love this. So make a list of at least 50 dreams and desires that you want to have in your life. Now, I have the dream process. I'm not sure if it's posted still in the extras page. If it's not, drop me a note and I'll send you the dream process. But this is how it works. You're going to do one sitting because you need to write them all out, 1 to 50, at least 50. And you're going to write out your dreams and desires. You're not going to judge them. You're not going to erase. You're not going to second guess. Whatever pops into your mind needs to go onto the page. Write them all out, 50 of them. And don't take too long. You know, the brain goes into a different place if you start thinking into too much depth on this. So like the values card, you'll know the answers. Just let them pop up. And for most people that I've seen do this, their first 10, 20, they come pretty easy. And then they start to get stuck. But don't give up. And don't so I'll finish it tomorrow. No, because then you're just doing the 1 to 20 again. And you're not getting into that place I want you to go. I want you to get into what I call the wacky wishes. Let me give you an example. I had a client do this. She was a woman in her 50s, living in Toronto at the time, and she put down on her list that she wanted to go to NASCAR racing school in the US. Do you think she got to do it? Yes, she certainly did. And she got to go with her adult daughter. And she got a lot more than that one thing on that list that came true for her. Truly miraculous things happened. So start by making your dreams and desires wish. You need to get really clear on what it is you want in your life. Because if you haven't got a dream, how are you going to have a dream come true? That's the second thing I want you to do. And I do this with my clients. I had one client that we were together. I said, we're almost at the end of our 4 months. I'd really like to see your dreams and desires list written. They don't have to share it with me, nor do you. But do send me an email that you finished it, because that's always fun. She started writing, oh, this is hard, this is hard. But by the time she was done, she was at 67. She's a real estate person. And within a week, she had a listing for a property worth, I think, $6.2 million. Mm-hmm. So then I had her adjust the list so that it didn't just say, get the listing. It said, get the listing and sell quickly and efficiently. So you want to make sure you're pretty precise in what your list is. My husband and I do this every year around New Year's Eve. In there, we have our journals and we just both do our list and then we share. He puts things on his list that I would never have known if we didn't have this way of sharing. So it's a really nice exchange to do with a partner or a friend or family. I know a group of my clients got together as friends and they did their dreams and desires list and shared them. And they're finding that it doesn't take very long for the things to start to manifest. Check your list. You want to make sure that your list gets covered off. I'm just going to check all my notes here to make sure I'm covering everything, because this is a pretty extensive process that I have. So you want to make sure that it covers off some of the major areas like health, family, prosperity, wealth, success, career, love, relationships, partner, creativity, friends, travel, knowledge, education, growth, learning. The other way I like to check my list is to make sure that it covers all the aspects. So what is it that I'm desiring emotionally? Remember we talked about the emotional maturity? That would be on the emotional maturity side. So the emotional end. So what do you want emotionally? How do you want to be? How do you want to feel? And physically, how do you want to be? What dreams and desires do you have around your physical? It could be your physical space. It could be your physical body. It could be physical material things that you want. Mentally, how do you want to be? How do you want to feel? Where do you want your mental aspects? Maybe you want to be learning things. Where do you want to be spiritually? And then the center is that sexual catalyst, sexual, not as in sex, although you can certainly put that on your list if that's one of your dreams and desires. But it's about that energy, that life force energy. So what is it that's going to really get your passion stirred up? So check your list for all of those aspects, those different categories. And then the next thing to do is to turn your vision board into a collage. So gather up your favorite magazines, the magazines that align with what you have on your dreams and desires list. If you have a lot of travel on your list, you may want to buy travel magazines that you can cut up and paste pictures of the places you want to go or the names of the places you want to go. And if you're doing it from the aspect perspective, you're doing the emotional. You're going to want to have words that describe how you want to feel emotionally. As far as your relationships are concerned, you may want to have photos of a couple walking down the beach holding hands. Whatever it is, get the images, and the words are important also, that describe what your dreams and desires are. What is your vision for your future? And you can picture it as 10 years or 5 years or 3 years or 1 year. I did this exercise with someone. I led this and she was in my group, did the vision board in November. In February, she had to redo it because she'd had everything on her board was complete. It all happened. So you want to get the pictures to illustrate your dreams and desires, and you want to take action to bring yourself closer to your dreams and desires. So if you look at something on the list, I went to a networking event last night. Somebody said, I've been wanting to do this for years, and I just never got around to doing it. And I determined I was going to get it done, and 20 people showed up. I don't know if she's going to do it again, but it was great fun. So by making your list of dreams and desires, I put that I wanted a new comforter cover. And I thought, why am I waiting? Why am I not just doing that right away? And went online, ordered a new comforter cover and the pillow shams and all that jazz. I didn't have to wait, but I hadn't done it. I'd been procrastinating for about 3, 4, 5 months. Oh, it's such a nuisance to go through all the styles and find something that I like. And then as soon as I wrote it down, I said, that's it. I'm going to make that one come true. So you need to take action to bring yourself closer to that dream. Even if you don't order it, at least know what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you want. And again, I love dates on things, dates on notes, dates on your list, dates on your workbook. And what I do that I've never heard anybody else do, but I got this somewhere, I was guided to put my whole vision board under my bed. So I put the whole thing under the bed and I dream with it for 7 nights. And in order to remember that I have the vision board under my bed, I put a stone on my night table. I put an amber stone because the amber is, I love stones and rocks. I'm a West sitter. So it's about abundance. So I put it on my night table. I look at the stone every night and then I remember, oh, right, my vision board is under my bed. So I can dream with it. I go to sleep dreaming about all those beautiful things and places and people and relationships and experiences that I have on my vision board. And then I pull my vision board out and I put it in a place where I see it every day. So for me, there, I'll just give you a little turn there. You're getting some reflection off my picture, but you can see my vision board is right behind me. So it's in my office. This is another way of doing vision boards. This is done by a friend of mine, Penny. She gives you one of these frames from IKEA, and you need to figure out what it is that you want to put on your board, you've got to be really succinct and clear. You see, I put Oprah Loves on my book, on the Zest Your Life book. Oprah Loves Zest Your Life. Zest Cafe is my blog that I'm working on. And then I have a category for family. You can see I have my meditation, quiet space books I love. And then myself on the stage, that's my career. And then traveling, you know, the Enchantment Lodge, Paris. I've been to Arizona, where the Enchantment Lodge is. It's totally stunning. And I want to go back there. And I want to be on the stage at the Enchantment Lodge. Here's my current card, my current website, vision board. It's really important in my mind to put yourself in the middle. Put yourself in the middle of your board. Don't forget to have you on your board. And you can see mine have certain categories. So you can see the bottom right-hand corner, I've got some travel in there. I got some French. May not know, mais je parle français, c'est ma première langue. So I've got a few other things, family, my husband's in the picture up there. My friend works at this yoga retreat I want to go to, and I have some money on there so I could give it away. Wildest dreams and all those great words. Love the color orange. You know, that's my branding color. So here's the affirmation for that. The affirmation for the vision board says, every day I understand and love myself more and more. And as you understand and love yourself more and more, you will find that you'll have more and more come into your life. That's the end of the book study. So here's what I ask. If you would be kind enough to share these webinars, I'd be more than happy to have people come onto my YouTube channel. I've got a few other videos up there, and some people may think they're a little funny. Yeah, some of them were done a few years ago and not so serious at all. Some of them are very serious. So it depends what you're looking for. Different videos on my YouTube channel. It's just Linda Babulik on YouTube. Go to my website, check out what I call the ZEST Zone. That's where you can sign up for my newsletter and some yummy stuff, and I don't spam you. I don't plague you with emails. And you can find me. Send me a personal message at linda@lindababulik.com. Not hard to find. On Facebook, I have a business page called Zest Your Life. I have a group called Linda Babulik Zest Your Life. And you can find me on Twitter, although I don't tweet a whole lot, at Linda Babulik, and on Instagram, Linda Babulik. Not hard to find me. So I'm really thrilled that you've been here with me through this journey of putting these webinars together. And if you go back and watch the first one, I like to think that maybe I got a little better at this. And you're getting better at it too. You're getting better at having more zest in your life, more fun in your life, more joy, more power, more perseverance. And zest is contagious. So share the zest. Thank you so much. Till next time.